Well, basically, if you don't understand the language of green, it's hard to understand the papers that are being written. It's hard to sit in a meeting. For example, I sit in on a city meeting and sustainability, and the mayor says, we're going to make this city green, and we're going to use the natural step, and we're going to follow the triple bottom line. And we're going to start off with this brownfield project. And there's 10 people at the table, and they're going, well, I understood one of those words. So we need to go through a cultural change in the United States first. The second thing is we need to define certain things in green. And then we have to have the infrastructure to support those definitions, meaning that high-performance equipment can't be special order anymore. It's got to be the stuff on the shelf. It's got to be, nobody would dream of buying anything but a water-sense toilet, for example. And I think we need to go through that. But if you go through a big box supply house right now, and I do periodically just to observe, and you heard the administrator from the EPA imply his horror story, you cannot find a water-sense labeled toilet. And there's a couple hundred of toilets. And the ones that are on the shelves, there's some of them have got to be water sense, one would think. You go and you talk to the department heads or the guys on the floor, and they have no idea what water sense is. We need to get education, not only on the homeowners demanding green, the suppliers being able to supply it and understand what they're supplying, the manufacturers making it mainstream pricing. And then I have our culture, from the kids up to the oldsters, just make that quantum leap. But that's not going to happen tomorrow. If you go into a foreign culture, let's say you and I were to go to live in Mumbai or Bangalore, where the one fellow is from, the first thing we got to learn is the language, and then the culture, or we can't live in that environment. And I think that's where green has got to go. GreenSpeak is the first step. The next step is to make it where people are comfortable discussing it. And when they are comfortable discussing it, then we start to see progression and change. We have to agree on what certain things are. And we also have to agree on our goals. We have to agree on a timetable. The old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. The green culture is not going to be built in the United States tomorrow. And we have some other issues besides green. Our infrastructure needs some serious help. And we've been talking about that since the bridge collapsed in Minneapolis, right? Well, why don't we sit down and say, okay, if we're going to rebuild this infrastructure anyway because it's falling apart, how does that match in with going towards energy efficient? Let's start dovetailing it. And let's get rid of the politics. And let's get rid of you heard the EPA say we cannot have single agencies responsible for certain things. Let's get rid of that territorialism. Let's just say, okay, the only competition we have is apathy. And when we get that attitude, I think then we'll progress.